This is Southern Cross News with Rachel Williams.
Good evening. Police officers are out in force across the state as we head towards New Year's Eve, keeping a watch over road safety, public order and major events. With gatherings of large crowds, authorities are taking precautions against the threat of vehicle ramming attacks.
Officers on the beat, a watchful eye as revellers enjoy our major summer events. The Hobart waterfront swarming with people for the Sydney-Hobart yacht race and the taste of Tasmania.
The main priority of Tasmania Police over the next week is just safety of the public so that they can continue having fun, enjoying the waterfront and other festivities around the state with the knowledge that we're there looking after them.
One of those measures is the use of concrete barriers, a protection in place with the rising use of vehicles as weapons against big crowds. Last week, 18 people were injured by a vehicle ramming in Melbourne CBD.
You'll have seen events or things that have occurred interstate and overseas with vehicles in crowded places, so we just attempt to mitigate some of those risks.
Authorities say security has been well organised, urging people to enjoy themselves but remain vigilant.
We take people's safety very, very seriously, so we have done a lot of risk management. We have our own security people here, but not only do we have the police, but we also have covert police as well.
On the roads, police are urging motorists to plan for delays, with heavy traffic including the rush to and from Falls Festival at Marion Bay.
Make sure that you plan your trip for an extra half hour, an hour on top. It will be slow travelling, there will be a number of people on the roads and you may be delayed, so bear that in mind when you leave.
Officers are continuing a road safety crackdown, with more than 1,000 infringement notices issued. Police were particularly concerned by one incident at Lagana involving an alleged drink driver.
An off-duty police officer had to pull her over because of her driving, and she was nearly 3 times over the limit. When she was stopped, she literally fell out of the vehicle. She's now been disqualified for driving for the next 12 months and will face court at a later date.
She was just one of 56 people who've been charged with drink driving this holiday period. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
After 28 years of trying, skipper Matt Allen has finally claimed a Sydney-Hobart title, with the overall handicap winner decided earlier today. But the win certainly didn't come easy for the crew of Ichiban, having to claw back into the race after suffering gear damage.
A moment nearly 3 decades in the making.
We've spent so much time trying to perfect this race, and to finally do it was just an absolute dream.
The 52-footer arrived in Hobart yesterday, breaking the long-standing race record for a conventionally ballasted boat. But in true Sydney-Hobart fashion, it wasn't without its dramas.
We really knew that the boat to beat all the time was Quest, and we'd had a ding-dong battle the whole way down the coast with them. We jumped them the first day, and then we had some gear damage the second day. They jumped back on us.
Allen, who helped crew the Yacht Challenge to Sydney-Hobart victory 33 years ago, has raced 3 different boats in the past 3 years, but says Ichiban will be back to defend the title in 2018.
I've been coming down to Hobart since 1976, so I'm not going to give it up anytime soon.
The skipper also weighing in on yesterday's shock decision to penalise Wild Oats 11 for an hour for failing to properly give way to Comanche at the start of the race, which saw the Super Maxi stripped of line honours.
Racing rules are sailing, are the racing rules, and we have, a very accomplished international jury here to decide on the matters, and I'm sure that they took all the facts into account.
Wild Oats skipper Mark Richards accepted last night's decision gracefully, less than 24 hours after the jubilation of smashing the race record.
As I say, that's yacht racing sometimes, and not very often you got to smash a Sydney Hobart record and get it taken away from you, but it's happened to us today, and we're very disappointed, but we're also good sports, and we're going to have to take it on the chin this one and just get on with it.
Richards also adamant the situation won't sour he and Comanche skipper Jim Cooney's long-standing friendship.
Yeah, it's a yacht race. At the end of the day, what is it? A yacht race? Has someone been run over? Told you got cancer or something like that? No, it's a yacht race.
It took the 5-person jury around 3 hours to reach the verdict, making it just the 3rd time in the event's 73-year history that a post-race penalty has cost the line honours winner first spot. But Cooney remained unapologetic about raising the protest flag.
We are at the elite level of our sport, and the boats have to be conducted responsibly and with fair respect to the conditions and the impact that your manoeuvres might have. And I felt very strongly that that wasn't the case on Tuesday.
I guess the good thing is we had the crowd at the dock and they didn't, so that's something we've got to get a positive out of it.
Tom Cooper, Southern Cross News.
The Parks and Wildlife Service is showcasing some of Tasmania's best natural wonders. It's launching a new guide for national parks and reserves, including 60 great short walks. But while our state has plenty to offer, authorities are warning adventurers to take precautions.
It tells people what they need to take to be prepared, and being prepared in the Tasmanian wilderness is so important.
It's a wonderful companion, of course, for visitors to the state and also Tasmanians, so that they can get out and experience what's in their own backyard here in Tasmania.
The guide is free to download from the service's website, while hard copies are also available to purchase. Now to the first of our three-part series analysing our political leaders in the final year before the state election. Tonight, state political reporter Jacqueline Robson speaks with Greens leader Cassie O'Connor, the party poised to hold the balance of power.
It's been a year of dividing political issues, most significantly for the Greens, the expansion of salmon farming, a topic separating the party from the traditional red and blue.
Both the Liberal and Labor parties have played deaf to communities who want this industry reined in a bit and want us to get the science right so we can have a genuinely world's best practice industry.
It's the issue Cassie O'Connor says could snag the party a fourth seat in the parliament. The Lions electorate, the Greens leader says, is yearning to keep brand Tasmania clean.
It's where so much of our brand strength in agricultural exports comes from. I think many people in Lions have missed having green representation, and particularly when we have the sort of debates we've been having about fish farm expansion, the impact of Tassal's fish farm at Oakhampton.
There has been a few contentious issues, say the Mount Wellington cable car and the salmon industry, the expansion of that. Do you think you speak for a lot of Tasmanians on your stance on those issues?
We speak for Tasmanians who are concerned about protecting our wild places, protecting the environment, looking after the beautiful brand. We speak for Tasmanians who don't feel heard by the major parties.
Whether those differing values could affect the stability of a parliament rejected. Polling currently indicates a hung parliament, the Greens leader confident of cooperation in a possible minority government.
We were a cooperative partner in government while staying true to Greens values and delivering on Greens policies. I think that people in the electorate expect their politicians to work together.
Values aligning in the election lead-up as momentum builds to rid Tasmanian venues of poker machines.
The removal of poker machines from pubs and clubs could be a certainty. At the moment, the only thing standing in the way of the removal of poker machines from pubs and clubs is a Liberal majority government.
A majority the Greens will attempt to shatter in March with policy focusing on protecting wilderness in a visitor boom and a spiralling housing crisis.
My dearest hope for the election is that we elect at least 4 Greens members of Parliament and that we go back in there stronger and braver than ever to stand up for this beautiful island and its people.
Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
The Liberals are promising extra funding for the Tasmanian Christmas carnivals if re-elected in March. $200,000 has been committed for the next 3 years to go towards the carnivals in the northwest.
This $200,000 is an increase from $150,000 of our previous commitment that we've delivered, and this will make sure the carnivals remain sustainable but also can add further attractions and excitement to the people that we see.
It will allow us to support the clubs that put on these events. Most of the people at these clubs are volunteers, and so some extra funding will be able to go into the clubs to support them in that infrastructure costs and setting up the carnivals.
Mike Gunson says the extra funds will help promote the carnivals throughout the nation. Now look at business and finance with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The share market has closed lower, finishing the year up 7%. The ASX 200 index has dropped by 23 points. And a short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 78.06 US cents and 65.31 euro cents.
The Cricket Tasmania Premier League will have a new northern side in the competition from next year, with the addition of a Greater North team. The decision follows a feasibility report into the idea, with stakeholders confident it will bolster the competition as a whole. Cricket Tasmania says the move will also give players the opportunity to play in the league without having to relocate.
It's a massive opportunity for the young talented players in the north, and particularly for the north and the south of the state, to reconnect and provide that link in the pathway, so the young talented players don't actually need to be moving within the state down to Hobart.
The new side will play a mix of home and away games from next season, with a female team expected to be added to the program within the next 2 years. Fork in the Road is expected to take out line honours in the Launceston to Hobart yacht race within the next hour. Frontrunner and last year's line honours winner Tilt was forced to retire earlier today with a ripped mainsail. Rad is currently in second place and should cross the Battery Point finish line in around an hour after Fork in the Road. B&G Advantage is in third place. American woodchopper Martha King has made history in Launceston overnight, becoming the first woman to win a world title in Australia. Battling against Tasmanian great Amanda Beams in front of a packed Silverdome crowd, it all came down to the final swing of the axe.
She may be a bit smaller in stature than most in the sport, but American Martha King packs a serious swing. The 28-year-old found herself up against some stiff competition in last night's Launceston Carnival as she vied for her 5th world title. King recovering from a slow start in the underhand chop, catching up to local legend Amanda Beams and becoming the first female to clinch a world title on Aussie soil.
It's very surreal. There's been hundreds of, maybe even thousands of hours put into this. And I've definitely worn away the patience of my coaches a time or two, so it feels really good.
After a disappointing ride in Latrobe, Amy Kuehl was out for redemption in the women's wheel race, quickly catching the field off the scratch marker and storming home for the win.
I'm using the Tassie Christmas Carnivals as a build-up to the Commonwealth Games, but yeah, I just gave it everything out there and it was a great race. Everything panned out.
While Western Australian Sam Welsford backed up his record-breaking win in Latrobe, clocking the first ever sub-2-minute ride over 2,000 metres in an indoor stadium.
I'm stoked, that race was crazy. I think we went a sub-2 minute for 2K, so that was incredible, and that just shows how fast it was out there. So, yeah, really happy to win that one.
And in an added boost to the Carnival Series, organisers have secured American sprinter and hurdler Devon Allen to compete in the 200-metre event at Saturday's Devonport Carnival.
This is probably the biggest announcement we've had for the Carnivals in the 3 years I've been involved. Having an American sprinter, we know how good they are. They've got such a strong pedigree, and we've got the American champion, Olympic Games finalist. He was 5th in Rio last year.
The next of the Carnival action happens tonight with the Devonport Criterium.
2017 has produced some of Tasmania's greatest sporting stories, from homegrown world champions to heartbreaking defeats. Tonight we take a look back at the highs and lows from our year in sport.
New Year's Day set the tone for this year's incredible sporting script. At the Burnie Carnival, records tumbled. Morgan Gaffney became the first woman to win the Burnie gift 3 times.
And now again, in 2017.
Then Ryan Gregson became the first man to win the mile from scratch in 50 years. We witnessed one of the greatest Big Bash games of all time.
Hurricanes win. Look at Stuart Ford. A record score.
Forcing one local to come clean on a bad bet. We saw carnage at Symmons Plains.
That's a massive crash there for Tander. He's smart. That's Rick Kelly involved. Tim Blanchard, Moffat, they're all involved.
And a champion edged closer to a crack at a world title.
You know, when I hit him with the big shots, I wasn't even trying.
We had an unprecedented celebration of Tasmanian football. A state-based team remains on the agenda.
And if they start to make their voices heard, then the powers that be have to listen.
But a white knight from Kingborough ended the draft drought.
Fremantle selected Hugh Dixon from Tigers Football Club.
It's a great opportunity for me. I've got to work pretty hard still.
The Tornadoes couldn't quite make it in the Seabull South Conference final.
Probably a lot of people didn't expect us to get this far.
And the nation's hopes were shattered in the Tour de France.
So he's had a crash and Port is down. That's a horrible crash for Richie Port.
But those sporting setbacks are overshadowed by some truly astonishing achievements.
Keep listening to the crowd bring him home, my goodness me. He is the champion of the Santos Tour Down Under.
Championships, and she does it. Outstanding stuff from Ariane.
Mick Swain's got past him, and Mick Swain's going to come away and win the Zatopek.
Having been the bridesmaid for so long, Australia are going to get the job done. Australia win the World Championships.
What a finish, what a run, Dion Kenzie.
It's Alex Peroni in car number 17.
Hell of a Street trying to hold on, has a good margin. Hell of a Street from Supply and Demand, and it's Hell of a Street from Supply and Demand.
Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News.
Good evening. Hobart 23 today, Launceston and Burnie 21 and Devonport 19 degrees. 27 was the high at Bushy Park and Ouse, with a fine cloudy day today apart from a drizzle patch or two over the northeast. Grove and Campania 26 degrees, Medina 25, Wynyard, Friendly Beaches and Lyowini 21, St Helens, Strawn and the Islands 20 and Lowhead 19 degrees. A large band of cloud extends from ex-tropical cyclone Hilda over northwest WA right across the nation, pushing over the Tasman Sea just to our northeast. A low pressure zone is over the Southern Ocean with a cold front producing cloud near our southwest. There's the close-up. The middle and high cloud over the north and east today gradually contracted to the northeast. Low cloud lingered over the east and southeast coasts. Tomorrow the front will cross Tasmania. A trough remains over the Tasman Sea ahead of it, extending over southwestern Queensland and further to the northwest. A high enters the bight as well. Winds northwest to southwest at 20 to 30 knots, tending west-southwesterly at similar speeds and up to 25 to 35 knots over the south. Swells to 5 metres in western and southern waters. Gale warning from Tasman Island to Sandy Cape. A strong wind warning for all remaining coastal waters, so blowy again tomorrow, as well as a small craft wind alert for the lakes. A shower or two and becoming windy for Hobart, 18 degrees, windy for Medina, 15 the top, 16 for Oatlands with a shower and a bit of wind as well. Launceston partly cloudy and 20, 19 the top for Devonport with an early shower, Lyowini a top of 11, a very showery day in the mountains as well. A shower or two and windy for Burnie, 20, 17 for Strawn and Marrawar, 18 degrees, and for St Helens, partly cloudy and 24, maybe a morning shower for Swansea, 20 the top and 19 for Orford. UV 11 and extreme right across the island. On Sunday, fine and partly cloudy with a shower expected over the west. A cloudy day to greet 2018 with a few showers over the west and far south and possibly later over the east. And on Tuesday, a partly cloudy day, maybe a shower over the west and far south. Sunny and 34 in Perth, a morning shower for Adelaide and an afternoon one for Melbourne. We are expecting a shower as well for Sydney and possibly a shower over Brisbane. Mostly clear in Hobart, 21 at the moment, 20 in Launceston, Devonport clear as well and 19 degrees. The countdown to the new year is on. Time to think of our resolutions. Lucky for me, I've got a few from this year that didn't take, so I'll use them again. And I know, Rach, you've got a few bad habits you want to address. Have you made up your mind yet?
Who said I had a bad habit? That's a lie. Thank you for that, Peter Murphy. Well, that's Southern Cross News for this Friday, the 29th of December. Thanks for joining us. I look forward to your company over the weekend. Good night.